Chapter 2654. The four didn't walk for long before they saw 5 people dressed like Taoists, standing in front of a cave. When they saw the 4, they immediately acted as if they were facing a great enemy. "My friends, we are not enemies. You are not allowed to enter this place. Please," the leading Taoist with a goatee said arrogantly. His eyes were filled with arrogance. "Everyone, this is not private territory, nor does it belong to any sect. You have no right to stop us," Li Ke said, trying to control his tone. "The Maoshan sect is doing business here. Outsiders should leave." The goateed Taoist clearly didn't want to explain further. "Isn't the Maoshan sect a bit too overbearing? Zhou Nan was a nice guy. The Maoshan sect doesn't need to explain to outsiders," the goateed Taoist said nonchalantly. "What if we insist on going in? Don't think that you can compete with the Maoshan sect just because you have some unorthodox skills. I advise you to be sensible and back off. Don't humiliate yourself." "Fuck." Zhou Nan was suddenly enraged. Everyone was stunned. Shouldn't Zhou Nan be the most obedient? Moreover, Zhou Nan wasn't just talking. His body was also acting. He immediately attacked the Taoist priests of the Maoshan sect. Filthy earth. A patch of black mud suddenly appeared under the Taoist's feet. "How dare you, kid?" the goateed Taoist yelled. The Taoists had thought that the people before them were just wandering wild cultivators. As long as they used the Maoshan sect's name, they could completely suppress them. They didn't expect to run into a lunatic. The filthy earth dared to attack them first. The filthy earth was quite vicious. In the past, it would have been considered an evil spell. The black mud on the ground seemed to have a life of its own. It pulled the Taoists on it wildly. The goateed Taoist moved and broke free from the filthy earth. He then performed a seal with both hands. Duang! A wooden coffin fell from the sky. Then the green wooden coffin opened, and a ferocious-looking green-faced zombie walked out of it. The zombie breathed out foul air. Its eyes were black, and its 10 fingers were as sharp and long as a beast's. The canine teeth in its mouth were also different from those of ordinary people. Although it was in human form, its body was abnormally tall and sturdy, exceeding 220 centimeters. And this green-faced zombie wasn't like the ones in Xiangjiang movies, who were jumping around and wearing Qing dynasty official uniforms. He was dressed in tattered hemp garments, and his steps were unsteady. His body was slightly arched forward, and his arms hung low. "Old Zhou, retreat. That's a green corpse," Li Ke hastily shouted, although he did not understand why Zhou Nan would attack the Taoist priest of the Maoshan sect. But looking at Zhou Nan's expression, there was most likely some grudge between them. He and Zhou Nan had known each other for more than 20 years. If they were to fight, he would naturally stand on Zhou Nan's side. Zhou Nan reacted quickly when he saw the green corpse. "Summon the 5 Skundas Grand Thunder." At this time, a bolt of lightning fell from the sky and crashed onto the green-faced zombie's head. The huge body of the green-faced zombie collapsed with a loud rumble. Everyone couldn't help but look at Wang Hai. No one had expected Wang Hai to be so decisive. Wang Hai grinned. "If we're going to fight, then there's no need to waste time. Stupid cow nose of Maoshan. I happen to have some grudges with you people that need to be settled." Everyone realized that Wang Hai also had a grudge with the Maoshan sect. No wonder he was so decisive. Seeing this, Li Ke no longer hesitated. He took off the treasure gourd from his back. "Little Chen, this has nothing to do with you. You don't have to get involved." Chen Zhao smiled and stretched his body. "We're all here together. Even if I say that it has nothing to do with me, they won't believe me. Since these people want to die, we don't need to hold back anymore. Let's attack with everything we have. Don't worry about casualties," the Taoist priest with the goatee said. "There are 9 layers in the earth, and 9 layers in the sky, and 9 mysteries in the sky. The world is the guide, and the great path is the spirit. It illuminates the heavenly path, gathers my 9 spirits and contains my 9 lives." The ground gradually cracked open, and a bronze coffin rose from the ground. A huge zombie walked out of the bronze coffin. The zombie was almost 3 meters tall. Its body was covered in black hair, making it look like a savage. It carried a huge axe that was as big as a door. "Zombie King." Everyone's expression changed drastically. They didn't expect the goateed Taoist to be so powerful that he could nurture a zombie king. Chen Zhao frowned. Chen Zhao frowned. This zombie king was very strong. Even spiritualists couldn't touch the aura of death on its body, let alone regular people. The other Taoist priests also summoned their coffins one after another. Green-faced or red-faced zombies walked out of the coffins one after another. Since you're so stubborn, don't blame us for killing you. The goateed Taoist snorted coldly. He pointed at the four and shouted, "Go!" Li Ku raised the treasure gourd and shouted at the zombie king, "Take it." But the zombie king didn't move at all. Then, it spat out a mouthful of murky air at Li Ku. The murky air carried a fishy smell as it whizzed toward Li Ku. "Oldly retreat." Zhou Nan made a hand seal. A stone palm grabbed Li Ku and dragged him back. The zombie king's murky air was filthy water poison. Once hit, it was extremely difficult to expel. The poison could seal one's spiritual power. They needed help and might not succeed. Wang Hai and Li Ku made hand seals. Thunder spell, 5 essence true thunder. 5 bolts of lightning struck down from the sky. They all hit the zombie king's head. Moreover, each bolt of lightning was much more powerful. When the 5th bolt landed, there was already a huge pit where the zombie king was standing. But the zombie king still didn't move. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Such a powerful and terrifying thunder spell couldn't hurt the zombie king at all. "How dare you embarrass yourself before me with such a small trick?" Chen Zhao glanced at the goateed Taoist. His cultivation was clearly similar to Wang Hai's, but he could summon such a powerful zombie king to fight for him. On the other hand, Wang Hai was powerful, but a zombie king alone was enough to render them helpless. Roar! With a deafening roar, the zombie king finally moved. With a terrifying sense of oppression, the zombie king instantly appeared before the 3 of them. It raised its giant axe and slashed at Wang Hai. "It's over." Wang Hai's face paled. The zombie king was too powerful. It was completely beyond their limits. Chen Zhao moved and suddenly appeared before Wang Hai. He reached out and accurately grabbed the handle of the zombie king's axe. Everyone stared at Chen Zhao in disbelief. A human, grabbing the axe of a corpse king that possessed the strength of 10,000 kilograms? Was there a mistake? Chen Zhao suddenly raised his leg and kicked the zombie king's abdomen, sending it flying more than 10 meters away. "I'll deal with this big guy. I'll leave the rest to you." Jutian Divine Emperor. Chapter 2655. What great strength! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Usually, the most effective way to deal with a zombie king wasn't to fight it head-on with one's own body. Instead, it was a summoning spell to summon a creature with the same powerful body. Otherwise, it was a powerful attack spell that would hit the target. But Wang Hai, Li Ku, and Zhou Nan didn't have this ability. They'd thought that they would most likely die in this battle. Unexpectedly, Chen Zhao, a bystander, suddenly intervened. He also displayed great strength in an instant. Chen Zhao grabbed the axe he'd snatched. "This is pretty handy." The zombie king wasn't injured. After regaining its footing, it roared at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao twisted his neck and stared at the zombie king. "Brother Chen, you be careful." Wang Hai's way of addressing Chen Zhao had changed from Little Chen to Brother Chen. "I can't help with other things," Chen Zhao said coolly, "but physical work is my specialty." The goateed Taoist was also surprised. This person clearly walked the path of strengthening the body. However, there was a limit to this kind of body strengthening technique. He didn't believe that someone could train their body to the point where they could fight a zombie king. The zombie king was refined and merged with his primordial spirit, so it was also a part of him. He naturally knew how terrifying the zombie king's combat ability was. It could even easily lift a 100-ton object. But just now, Chen Zhao had blocked it with his bare palms. He found it hard to accept. But he didn't think that his zombie king had lost. He felt that Chen Zhao had used some secret technique. He'd obtained extraordinary power in a short time. But this secret technique couldn't last for long. "Go! Kill him!" The zombie king roared and pounced at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao swung his axe and swung it 360 degrees. The axe landed heavily on the zombie king's shoulder. The corpse king staggered a few steps, but it was completely unharmed. What a tough body. Chen Zhao didn't use too much force. He was curious about the zombie king. How strong was the zombie king's strength and defense? The zombie king spread its arms and gave Chen Zhao a bear hug. Chen Zhao didn't plan on hugging a corpse. He lifted his body and somersaulted in midair to escape. The corpse king's arms snapped the tree behind Chen Zhao. Wang Hai, Zhou Nan, and Li Ku broke out in cold sweat. The corpse king's terrifying power was undeniable. If that bear hug had landed, Chen Zhao's body would have been crushed into a pulp. As soon as Chen Zhao steadied himself, the zombie king pounced at him again. It swung its arm at his back. "Be careful!" Everyone shouted at the same time. Chen Zhao pulled the handle of the axe and swung it across, smashing it into the zombie king's face. The zombie king's jaw was smashed crooked, but the zombie king straightened its jaw by itself. Chen Zhao followed up with a windmill. The axe spun 3 times and landed heavily on the side of the zombie king. The undead king's huge body flew more than 30 meters before it was finally stopped by a tree with a diameter of at least 1 meter. Roar! The zombie king stood up again, still without any injuries. The zombie king actually turned around and hugged the trunk of the tree. In front of everyone's eyes, the tree trunk was actually broken by it. Next, the zombie king actually swung the trunk at Chen Zhao. Dragging the handle of the axe, Chen Zhao charged at the zombie king. The moment the trunk was about to hit Chen Zhao leaped up. Chen Zhao leaped up suddenly. The moment the tree branch missed, he swung the axe down heavily. Hiss! The axe split the zombie king's head in half. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The goateed Taoist suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and fell backward. "Martial uncle!" The Taoist priests hurriedly supported the goateed Taoist priest. Wang Hai, Zhou Nan, and Li Ku were all dumbfounded. They didn't expect Chen Zhao's power to be so terrifying. Now, no one treated Chen Zhao as a bumpkin who had just returned from abroad. At least, no one dared to underestimate Chen Zhao's power anymore. Just then, 2 Taoists walked out of the Han King's tomb. One of them had a clean face and looked to be in his early 20s, but he had a head of white hair. He wore a black Taoist robe and held a sword in one hand. His eyebrows were like swords, and he had an imposing appearance. Behind him was an old Taoist who was the complete opposite of the Taoist. He wore a blue and white Taoist robe and held a horsetail whisk in his hand. He looked like an immortal. "What's going on?" The young-looking Taoist scolded coldly. "Grandmaster, we don't know where those people came from. They attacked us without a word. I tried to stop them, but they killed my corpse." Everyone's expressions changed when they saw the 2 Taoists who came out from inside. Chen Zhao didn't know the 2 Taoists, but he knew the other 3. Especially when Zhou Nan looked at the young-looking Taoist priest. His eyes were bursting with monstrous fury. "Zhang Ding!" Everyone could even hear the sound of Zhou Nan's teeth grinding. When Zhang Ding looked at Zhou Nan, his gaze turned even colder. "Zhou Nan, it's you." Zhou Nan didn't act rashly this time. He knew who he was facing. Zhang Ding was a man of his word in the Wuxia supernatural world. The number of people who could stand on equal footing with him could be counted on one hand. It was the same for his cultivation. Apart from those old monsters who lived in seclusion, there was definitely a place for him among the top people in the world. Compared to Zhang Ding, they couldn't even be considered bugs. Zhang Ding drew a rune in the air with his right hand and lightly touched the rune. The rune shot toward Zhou Nan. Zhou Nan couldn't resist and fell to the ground in the blink of an eye. "For the sake of your ancestors, I've already tolerated you many times, but you don't know what's good for you. It looks like I have to cripple your cultivation today, lest you use your magic to commit crimes." Pop! Suddenly, a gust of wind brushed past Zhang Ding. Zhang Ding froze, then touched his cheek. There was a bloody mark on it. He looked at Chen Zhao in shock. "You! Undo the spell on him," Chen Zhao said coolly. "Kid you!" Pop! Another black ball whizzed past Zhang Ding's side, the gust of wind cutting through his skin. The old Taoist standing next to Zhang Ding had a smile on his face. After Chen Zhao made his move, he took a step back. It was a show of his attitude that it had nothing to do with him. Zhang Ding's expression darkened. "Do you know what you're doing?" "I do, but do you know what you're facing?" Chen Zhao gestured with his right hand. Chapter 2656. Zhang Ding's cultivation was very high. However, he still hadn't reached the Shangqing realm. To Chen Zhao, this kind of opponent could be easily crushed. Wang Hai and Li Ke's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. There weren't many people in this world who dared to go against Zhang Ding. Zhang Ding was burning with anger. You think you can really threaten me? You can try. Then I'll really have to give it a try today. Come, let me see what other abilities you have. Chen Zhao loosened his fingers. With a whoosh, a black ball shot out. But this time, the black ball exploded 3 meters away from Zhang Ding. A loud sound rang out in the air. Zhang Ding stood in place, unmoving. You don't know how to hold back after a successful sneak attack. You think you can beat me? Ignorant kid, Zhang Ding snorted. Wang Hai and Li Ke's expressions changed drastically. Was it too much? This time, Zhang Ding formed a seal with both hands. In half a second he completed it. Then he raised his palms. 5 bronze coffins rose from the ground. Li Ke and Wang Hai's expressions changed when they saw the 2 coffins. The goateed Taoist's bronze coffin was already difficult enough for them to handle. Even Chen Zhao had barely defeated the corpse king in the bronze coffin. Now that Zhang Ding had summoned 5 coffins at once, it was too much. But just then, Chen Zhao suddenly charged forward and kicked one of the coffins away. The bronze coffin flew directly at Zhang Ding. Zhang Ding stared at the coffin in shock. He almost couldn't react. Fortunately, the Taoist behind him pulled him over, allowing him to avoid the coffin. Zhang Daojun, be careful, the Taoist said with a chuckle. At the same time, he looked at Chen Zhao. The Taoist realized that Chen Zhao was looking at him with narrowed eyes. The Taoist hurriedly waved his hand. Kid, I'm not familiar with Zhang Daojun. If you want to cause trouble, go to him. Zhang Ding was seething with anger. Was it embarrassing to know him? If it was someone else, Zhang Ding would have captured them and turned them into a poisonous corpse. But the Taoist beside him wasn't easy to deal with. No matter how unhappy Zhang Ding was, he couldn't do anything. Thank you, Immortal Wuxia. You're welcome, hehe. Taoist Master Wuxia smiled and stepped back. But this is my limit. I don't want to fight with that kid. What happens next is up to you. There's no need for you to do anything. It's just an accident. Zhang Ding looked at Chen Zhao with a sinister look in his eyes. At this time, the other 4 bronze coffins had already been opened. 4 even more terrifying corpse kings walked out of the bronze coffins. These 4 corpse kings were respectively holding a giant sword, a giant blade, a spear, and a pair of scissors. They were like ancient generals or swordsmen. In fact, they were indeed ancient generals and swordsmen when they were alive. Chen Zhao's attention wasn't on the 4 corpse kings. Instead, her gaze lingered on the old Taoist. He couldn't see through the old Taoist's cultivation. Even his small world was unable to penetrate the protective barrier around the old Taoist. The old Taoist seemed to have sensed Chen Zhao's gaze. He turned his head and smiled at Chen Zhao. On the other hand, Li Ke and Wang Hai were extremely nervous. They didn't believe Chen Zhao could take on 4 corpse kings at the same time. Just then, the 4 corpse kings attacked Chen Zhao at the same time. But this time, Chen Zhao didn't move. He just stood where he was. The 4 corpse kings flew backward without any warning. It was as if they'd been hit by an invisible force. Li Ke and Wang Hai were dumbfounded. What happened? Why did the 4 corpse kings fly backward without any warning? The old Taoist lifted his eyelids. When he looked at Chen Zhao, a strange light flashed in his eyes. Zhang Ding's pupils constricted. Just then, Chen Zhao hooked his finger. Zhang Ding was pulled in front of him. Chen Zhao strangled Zhang Ding with one hand. Undo my friend's spell. What if I don't? Do you dare kill me? Zhang Ding couldn't back down now. To him, being in the hands of a junior was already a great humiliation. But with his status, he was confident that Chen Zhao wouldn't dare kill him. If he knew Chen Zhao better, perhaps he wouldn't be so confident. After all, Chen Zhao didn't know what kind of trouble killing him would bring. With a smile on his face, Chen Zhao increased the strength of his hand. Zhang Ding's mouth gaped open. His face was flushed with blood, and his eyes were about to pop out. Chen Zhao's strength was still increasing. Just then the old Taoist suddenly laughed. Haha, I heard that Celestial Master Zhang invited a top expert from abroad. That must be you, my friend. When everyone heard that Chen Zhao was related to Zhang Tianyi, their expressions couldn't help but change. To be called a top expert by Zhang Tianyi, one's strength was undeniable. I didn't believe it at first. That old man likes to brag. But now it seems that you really are a top expert. I wasn't invited back by him. I just came back to play for a few days. I knew that old man wouldn't find me for anything good. Then do you know why Celestial Master Zhang invited you back? I don't know and I'm not interested. Chen Zhao had wanted to go to Dragon Tiger Mountain to play for a few days. Now it seemed that going there would be big trouble. Forget it. I'm suddenly tired of playing. I'm going home. A peerless demon king will appear in the Qinling Mountains, and I'm afraid the scale will be even greater than the one 20 years ago. If we can't stop the peerless demon king, then putting aside the problem of the impact, nearly 1 million people will suffer, and the number of people who will die will be incalculable. Little friend, do you have the heart to let your report suffer? Chen Zhao's expression twisted. Old Zhang has his ways. Plus, there's still a master like you in the country. My cultivation isn't as good as Celestial Master Zhang or you. Plus, Celestial Master Zhang and I are different from you. You reached your current level purely with your combat ability. In terms of pure combat ability, I'm afraid Celestial Master Zhang and I together are no match for you. Did old man Zhang bring me back this time to make me his fighter? I want to defend Celestial Master Zhang, but this is the reality. The old Taoist glanced at Zhang Ding, who was about to be strangled by Chen Zhao. Can you let Zhang Daojun go? He didn't agree to my request. Your friend's spell isn't weak, but I can undo it. As for Zhang Daojun, he's still useful. This was undoubtedly the most hurtful thing to Zhang Ding. Was he able to live because he was still useful? Chapter 2657. Li Ku and Wang Hai were completely confused by the conversation. This Chen guy knew Celestial Master Zhang? From his tone, the two seemed to be very close. Also, this kid was called back to deal with a powerful demon that was about to be born? The fuse of the legendary event? Li Ku and Wang Hai couldn't help but gulp. They felt like they'd heard something terrible. The old Taoist seemed to have noticed their thoughts. He casually glanced at the two of them. Don't say another word after you get out of here. Otherwise, you two won't be able to escape. Both of them shuddered. The old Taoist had spoken in a very gentle tone. However, there was a trace of bone-chilling coldness in his eyes. Chen Zhao let go of Zhang Ding. Zhang Ding's face turned red and white. His limbs felt uneasy. His eyes flashed. He seemed to be hesitating about whether he should take this opportunity to attack Chen Zhao. Daojun Zhang, don't make a mistake, the old Taoist suddenly said with a snort. The old man seemed to be able to read people's minds. Zhang Ding sneaked a glance at the old Taoist and put his thoughts away embarrassed. Go and undo the spirit vessel seal on that person. Spiritual Master Wuxia, this person and his ancestor have a grudge against me. I don't care what grudge you have with him, but I know that if you don't undo it, you won't be able to get through this. The old Taoist glanced at Chen Zhao. Zhang Daojun. This is a person who once beat up a peerless great demon to the point that he couldn't even take care of himself. In terms of means, you can't beat him. Moreover, he doesn't hang around in the country, so your influence is useless against him. If you push him too far, he might really kill your entire family. Whatever, Zhang Ding said. As long as this kid agrees not to be an enemy of the Maoshan sect, I won't make things difficult for him. I won't agree on his behalf, Chen Zhao said coolly. The old Taoist chuckled. Daojun Zhang, now is not the time for you to ask for conditions. You can't even protect yourself. There's no point in talking about conditions. Chen Zhao didn't know what kind of grudge Zhou Nan had with Zhang Ding. Perhaps he would agree on his side. Zhou Nan would turn against him. In that case, he would be in a terrible situation. Zhang Ding's eyes flashed. He unwillingly removed the spell on Zhou Nan. Zhou Nan woke up in a daze. Then he looked at the strange scene in a daze. He knew what kind of person Zhang Ding was. The only reason why he didn't kill him when he saw him was because he was suddenly kind. How could he suddenly undo the spell? Also, why was everyone's expression so strange? What had happened while he was under the spell? Zhang Ding's face was as ugly as if he had eaten shit. Looking at the three people on his side, they all had different expressions on their faces. Especially Wang Hai and Li Ku. They kept avoiding his gaze. What the hell happened? Let's go. Zhang Ding was the first to leave. He didn't even look back, as he left in a carefree manner. However, In Li Ku and Wang Hai's eyes, there was a hint of embarrassment behind his calm demeanor. One of the most powerful beings in the Wuxia spirit world had been beaten by a nobody. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Brothers, what exactly is going on? Zhou Nan asked. No one answered Zhou Nan's question. Since Chen Zhao didn't explain, Li Ku and Wang Hai didn't dare to talk about what had happened. After all, they had just been warned by Taoist Wuxia. Let's talk about you first, Chen Zhao said. What kind of grudge do you have with that Zhang Daojun? Zhou Nan lowered his head, not really willing to speak. Old Zhou, we're all on the same side. There's no need to be so secretive. Yeah, old Zhou, we went through thick and thin just now, Wang Hai said. Also, I won't hide it from you. I also have some grudges with the Maoshan sect. Everyone's eyes focused on Wang Hai. Wang Hai continued. I told you that my master was an old beggar. I was the one who sent him off in the end. Everyone nodded. Chen Zhao had only met Wang Hai today, but he did mention this to Wang Hai. A few years ago, I went to his grave and found that the old beggar's grave was empty. After investigating, I found that a few days after the old beggar was buried, people from the Maoshan sect wandered around the area. The Maoshan sect is best at refining corpses. Moreover, the old beggar was not weak when he was alive. I don't even need to think to know what they're going to do with the old beggar's body. Did this really need to be said out loud? Of course it was for refining corpses. The higher the cultivation of a cultivator, the more powerful the zombies they could refine. Moreover, some cultivators' corpses could even be refined into certain spells. Everyone was in the industry, so there was no need for evidence. As long as there was a suspicion, then it was very likely. Moreover, the Maoshan sect had a history of doing such things. Their viciousness was abhorrent in the Wuxia spiritual world. Unfortunately, the Maoshan sect was too powerful. Lone cultivators and savages couldn't beat them at all. Moreover, they had political backgrounds and influence. This made them somewhat unscrupulous in their actions. They were also smart enough not to touch the corpses of important figures or people with powerful backgrounds. Forget it. Since you guys want to know, I'll tell you about me and the Maoshan sect. Zhou Nan sighed and made up his mind. I'm a descendant of the Mai sect, Zhou Nan said. Everyone was confused. Only Chen Zhao looked at Zhou Nan with a meaningful look. That was because the Qingyi sect was derived from the Mai sect. It would not be an exaggeration to say that it was a branch of the Mai sect. Chen Zhao also learned from Li Qing that the Mai sect was actually a branch of the Maoshan sect. This meant that Chen Zhao and the Maoshan sect actually had a connection. It was just that the connection was a little distant. That was all Chen Zhao knew. The Maoshan sect is divided into 3 sects. The White Cloak sect, the Mai sect, and the Black Cloak sect, Zhou Nan explained. The White Cloak sect can observe the wind and water, detect the veins of dragons, and search for the secrets of heaven. The Mai sect specializes in exorcising ghosts and demons, and also protects the sect. They are the Maoshan sect's protectors. As for the Black Cloak sect, they raise ghosts and refine corpses, reverse life and death, and invert human relationships. The Maoshan sect has always been led by the White Cloak sect, but in recent years, there have been many scammers using the Maoshan sect's name in the Jianghu. This caused the Maoshan sect's reputation to plummet, so the White Cloak sect retreated and went into seclusion. That's how the conflict between the Black Cloak sect and the Mai sect started. My grandfather, Zhou Tsangnian, was the leader of the Mai sect back then. He was also a protector of the Maoshan sect. Is it the famous Mai divine lord from 30 years ago? Wang Hai asked. I didn't expect someone to know my grandfather's name. I thank you on his behalf. Chapter 2658. Chen Zhao looked at Zhou Nan. In the past, Chen Zhao only knew about the Mai sect. He didn't know that there were also the White and Black Cloak sects. My grandfather led the Marobe sect and Zhang Ding's master, the Black Robe sect, in a heated argument. Originally, it was a fight between fellow sect members, and both sides restrained themselves, not going overboard. But Zhang Ding broke the rules and slandered my grandfather, saying that he had stolen the Maoshan treasure, the Tiangang demon suppressing sword. Then, they tried to judge my grandfather, And without any evidence, and just based on Zhang Ding's words, they judged my grandfather guilty. My grandfather's cultivation was crippled according to Maoshan sect rules, and he passed away a month after his cultivation was crippled. My family was also expelled from Maoshan. Didn't your grandfather fight back? Since he was framed, I don't think he would obediently accept the verdict or even punishment. Chen Zhao's thoughts were too presumptuous. He felt that if he was faced with such a thing, he definitely wouldn't obediently accept the verdict. At that time, they claimed that they would investigate the matter thoroughly, but before that, they had to first seal my grandfather's cultivation. At that time, my grandfather cared about us juniors, so he did not plan to resist. He felt that since he did not do it, he would naturally be able to investigate it thoroughly. But then, they found a secret compartment in his room, and in the secret compartment, they found the Tiangang demon suppressing sword. At that time, my grandfather could no longer explain himself. This was Zhou Yinan's one-sided story, but Chen Zhao was more willing to believe him. Along the way, whenever Zhou Yinan mentioned this, his face would be filled with hatred and unwillingness. "Oh, do you know about the Qingyi sect?" Chen Zhao asked. Zhou Yinan froze and turned to Chen Zhao. "Why did you mention it? What sect is this Qingyi sect?" Li Ku and Wang Hai had never heard of the Qingyi sect. "It's a branch of the Ma Yi sect," Zhou Yinan explained simply. "How come I've never heard of it?" Zhou Yinan glanced at Chen Zhao. "Brother Chen, where did you hear about it?" "When I was overseas, I met a friend. She called herself a descendant of the Qingyi sect," Chen Zhao said calmly. "Abroad?" Zhou Yinan's brows furrowed vaguely. "Is that person okay?" "When I met her, she wasn't doing well." "What about now?" "She's doing fine now. She accepted a foreign disciple and plans to let him inherit her mantle." Zhou Yinan's complexion improved a little. "Can you give me her contact number?" "Sorry, I don't have her contact number." Chen Zhao shook his head with a smile. "I'm not that close to her." Sigh. Zhou Yinan sighed. Chen Zhao had Li Qing's contact number, but before he could figure out their relationship, Chen Zhao wouldn't give Li Qing's contact information to someone else. Zhou Yinan was obviously hiding something from him. This was why Chen Zhao wouldn't give out his contact information so easily. He planned to ask Li Qing first. After returning to the city, everyone went their separate ways. However, as soon as Chen Zhao returned to the hotel and entered the lobby, he heard screams behind him. "Brother Chen." Chen Zhao didn't expect Zhou Yinan to follow him here. "Brother Zhou, what's up?" "Brother Chen, I want to ask you something." "Is it about Qingyi sect?" "I would like to ask, is the successor of Qingyi sect surnamed Li?" "Yes." Chen Zhao nodded. "You really don't have her contact number?" "No." "Brother Chen, you don't know my relationship with her, right?" "I'm all ears." "She's my aunt." Chen Zhao couldn't help but stare at Zhou Yinan, trying to figure out if he was telling the truth. Unfortunately, Chen Zhao wasn't good enough. He couldn't tell if Zhou Yinan was telling the truth either. Even if it was true, Chen Zhao wouldn't give his contact number to Zhou Yinan easily. "Brother Chen, you're close to my aunt, right?" "We just know each other," Chen Zhao said calmly. "Is that so? When I first saw you, I felt that you were close. I didn't think too much about it, but now that I think about it, it's because you cultivate Qingyi sect's Qingyi technique, right?" Chen Zhao fell silent. He didn't know if Zhou Yinan was related to Li Qing. Even if he was really Li Qing's nephew, he wasn't sure if it was a good relationship. "My Linyi sect cultivates the Linyi divine technique, which complements Qingyi sect's Qingyi technique." Chen Zhao sensed carefully. There was a faint aura on Zhou Yinan that seemed to be connected to him. Of course, even so, Chen Zhao still had the same thought. He couldn't prove that he had no ill intentions with Li Qing. Chen Zhao first contacted Li Qing, then decided if he should give Li Qing's contact number to Zhou Yinan. "I understand your concern, Brother Chen, but I really need my aunt's contact number." "Brother Chen, you're my aunt's successor, right?" Chen Zhao didn't deny it. If he had to clarify their relationship, he had benefited from Li Qing. Therefore, Chen Zhao wouldn't deny that he was Li Qing's successor. "So you and I aren't outsiders. Why did Sister Li go abroad?" Her children and daughter-in-law had all gone abroad at the time, and the situation in the country was not very good at the time. That was why she chose to go abroad. Fortunately, She went abroad and avoided some things in the country, Zhou Nan said. The people of the Maoshan sect were actually looking for her at the time. Looking for her? Why? The techniques of the Lini sect, the White Cloak sect, and the Black Cloak sect are all incomplete. Only the Qingyi sect's needle thread connecting can make up for it. The Qingyi sect isn't just a branch of the Lini sect, right? After all, the spells of one branch can't make up for the techniques of the three main sections. You know about the Qingyi sect, but do you know about Shangliu Qingyi? I've heard of her. Chen Zhao nodded. He'd read the records of the Qingyi sect before. It was founded by Shangliu Qingyi. Shangliu Qingyi was also from the Lini sect. Secondly, Shangliu Qingyi's personal life. That was all Chen Zhao knew. In reality, Shangliu Qingyi was the leader of the Lini sect at the end of the Tang dynasty. The situation back then was very similar to now. The Lini sect and the White Cloak sect were at a stalemate for the position of the Maoshan sect's leader. In the end, the White Cloak sect won, and Shangliu Qingyi left the Maoshan sect in anger. Shangliu Qingyi said something before he left the Maoshan sect. I can't decide the current leader, so I'll decide the future leaders of the Maoshan sect. Then he founded the Qingyi sect. The victorious Maoshan sect leader didn't think much of it, but he soon realized that Shangliu Qingyi's words came true. Shangliu Qingyi took away the most important technique of the Lini sect, which is the foundation of the three sects of the Maoshan sect. It's also the Qingyi sect's spell, needle thread connecting. In the following 1,000 years, there were 32 Maoshan sect leaders. Every time they took over, they had to ask the successor of the Qingyi sect to complete the technique. In other words, without the approval of the Qingyi sect leader, the Maoshan sect leader wouldn't be able to learn the complete technique. Wait, didn't any of the leaders pass down the complete technique? Chapter 2659. Do you know why there's a need to use the needle thread to complete it? It's not the technique itself, but the flaws of the cultivator's body. The technique can be passed down, but the body can't, Zhou Nan explained. Zhou Nan explained, Shangliu Qingyi fused the complete cultivation method into the needle threading technique, and in order to prevent the cultivation methods and spells of Qingyi sect from being leaked, Shangliu Qingyi set down a rule that only one generation of Qingyi sect can pass it down. Hearing Zhou Nan's words, Chen Zhao frowned. In other words, Zhou Nan wanted to find Li Qing to complete the flaws in his technique? Brother Chen, since you can learn the Qingyi sect's spells, you must have a close relationship with my aunt, so please give me her contact. Chen Zhao looked at Zhou Nan. I have her contact, but how do I know you're telling the truth? Since he'd already said this, Chen Zhao didn't plan on hiding anymore. If he said he didn't have her contact, Zhou Nan wouldn't let it go. I'm telling the truth. It's not up to me to give you her contact. I need to ask her. If she agrees, I'll give you her contact. If she doesn't, I can only say sorry. Zhou Nan looked troubled. He wanted to say something but stopped. Sorry. I need to go back to my room to rest. I'll let you know if there's any news. Chen Zhao had already asked him to leave, so Zhou Nan could only leave awkwardly. After leaving the hotel, Zhou Nan took out his phone. Li, is Wang with you? Yes, we're at my restaurant on Horizontal Street. Are you coming over? Yes, I'll go over now. Zhou Nan hurried to the restaurant the two were at. The restaurant wasn't small. It was Li Ke's private property. With Li Ke's skills, the restaurant was still doing well even at 2 in the morning. Zhou Nan pushed open the door and saw Li Ke and Wang Hai drinking. Seeing Zhou Nan, Li Ke poured him a glass of wine. Zhou, sit. Have a glass. This is good wine. Zhou Nan took the glass, tilted his head back, and drank all the liquor in the glass. Ah, this is really good wine. This bottle of wine should be at least 2,000 yuan, right? The refined Wuliangya. The purchase price is 3,800 per bottle. If you put it on the counter of my restaurant, the price is 4,888. Take 2 bottles home. Zhou Nan licked his lips. Li Ke looked at Zhou Nan. He had known Zhou Nan for the longest time. Although there was a huge difference in their wealth, they were both insiders. Therefore, they had a lot of common topics, and the two of them helped each other many times. Although Zhou Nan had concealed his background, but who didn't have a little secret? Where did you go just now? Li Ku had invited Joey Nan and Wang Hai for a drink after they left the mountain, but Joey Nan said that he had something to take care of. In just a little more than an hour, he had already finished his business. Old Wang, how about doing me a favor? What kind of help? If you want money or people, just say the word. Li Ku's answer was filled with the air of a gangster, without the slightest bit of hesitation. Joey Nan looked at Wang Hai. Old Wang, are you familiar with that Chen kid? I guess so. We don't have a deep relationship. That's good. Wait. Old Joe, what do you mean? Li Ku asked. I have some history with him. I want you guys to help me take down that kid together. How can we do that? Li Ku immediately stood up and said agitatedly. Old Li, what's wrong with you? Do you have to be so agitated? Joey Nan looked at Li Ku in surprise. He didn't understand why Li Ku was so agitated. Is that kid your illegitimate son? Don't talk nonsense. We don't have any history with him. Why would we attack him? It's not moral. I won't do anything to him. I just want to know some information from him. That won't work either. Why? How many years of friendship can't compare to that kid? Li Ku and Wang Hai looked at each other and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Do you remember why Mao Shansek's Zhang Ding had such a strange expression and left unwillingly? Why? He was forced to leave by that Chen guy. Li Ku smiled bitterly. Also, he didn't want to reveal his cultivation. It was only because you were hit by Zhang Ding's spell that he had to reveal his cultivation. He suppressed Zhang Ding with his own strength and couldn't fight back. In the end, he had to be persuaded by another old Taoist to remove the spell on you. What you're doing right now is the equivalent of biting the hand that fed you. Also, even if we were willing to help, the three of us together might not be able to defeat him. Joey Nan's face turned green and red when he heard Li Ku and Wang Hai's words. I have my own difficulties too. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I can't help you with this, Li Ku said. He was loyal, but he didn't say that he would sacrifice his life for Chen Zhao. He was already being extremely benevolent by explaining this matter clearly. If South Africa wanted to die on Monday, there was nothing he could do. But he wouldn't go to his own death by fighting Chen Zhao to the death. He didn't think he had the right to do so. Wang Hai had the same thought. His relationship with Joey Nan was just average. Therefore, he couldn't help Joey Nan fight that fiend. He had heard from the old Taoist that Chen Zhao wasn't just friends with Celestial Master Zhang. Even Celestial Master Zhang acknowledged Chen Zhao's strength. He had even invited Chen Zhao from abroad to help him fight against the unborn Demon King. After talking with Li Ku, he realized that Chen Zhao's murderous aura was very strong. He wasn't a good person. It would be fine if Wang Hai could kill Chen Zhao in one move. But if he couldn't, Chen Zhao would definitely counterattack with lightning speed. Wang Hai didn't think that his small body could beat Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao was someone who had pressed the famous Zhang Daojun to the ground. Zhang Daojun's cultivation was also very famous in the Wuxia spiritual world. Therefore, Wang Hai felt that he couldn't provoke Chen Zhao. Old Joe, let's end this here. We'll pretend we never heard of this. If you want to know something from that Chen, then talk to him nicely. He might not reject you. But if we use force, I'm afraid this path won't work. Even if we help, we'll just be sending ourselves to our deaths. That Chen's strength is tyrannical. Even Zhang Ding isn't his match, so how can the three of us defeat him? Wang Hai said. Old Joe, let's stop here. He was trying to persuade Joey Nan, but Joey Nan didn't seem to listen. He was a bit hot-headed. In the end, you guys just don't want to help me. Whatever, if you don't want to help, then don't. Chapter 2660. Hey, Old Joe, why don't you listen to me? Seeing that Joey Nan was about to leave, Li Ku immediately stood up and pulled him back. Old Joe, listen to me. If I can help, I'll help. We really can't afford to offend that kid. Joey Nan didn't believe that Chen Zhao could be that strong at his age. He thought that Chen Zhao probably had something to do with Celestial Master Zhang. That was why Zhang Ding had backed off. As for Chen Zhao beating Zhang Ding, he didn't believe it either. He knew better than anyone how strong Zhang Ding was. In this world, the number of people who could match up to Zhang Ding could be counted on one hand. Chen Zhao was definitely not one of the characters on this hand. Joey Nan had sunk into his own hysteria. He felt that Li Ku would be betraying him if he didn't help him. However, he had no power or money now. He wasn't strong enough either. He didn't believe what Li Ku and Wang Hai said. But that Chungai definitely wasn't weak. After thinking about it, Zhou Nan couldn't think of a good solution. If Li Ku and Wang Hai were willing to help, that would be much simpler. They weren't weak in the first place. What was different from him was that both of them had a wide range of connections. They also had a lot of spare cash. Zhou Nan's main job was a heavy worker in a construction site. It wasn't hard to make a living, but it was hard to make connections or make friends with people. Because of his personal problems these years, Zhou Nan had always kept a low profile. Therefore, Zhou Nan didn't know many people, apart from a few in his small circle. Only a few of his fellow disciples from the Five Elements sect had some contact. Zhou Nan had entered the sect with skills, and the Five Elements sect didn't require someone with a clean background to join. In fact, the Five Elements sect was more open-minded in accepting people. It could be someone who had just awakened, or someone who had skills like Zhou Nan. Moreover, as long as they didn't commit crimes, as long as they weren't wanted by the public security, and as long as certain basic conditions were met, they could be apprenticed into the sect. The Five Elements sect also knew about Zhou Nan's background and current situation. However, it did not matter to them, even though the Five Elements sect was not a top-notch sect like the Maoshan sect. However, the Five Elements sect had a large number of people. Even within the country, there were only a handful of people who had more people than the Five Elements sect. Of course, most of the people in the Five-Element Divination sect were outer disciples, and Zhou Nan was one of these outer disciples. But the Grand Evolution Five Elements sect also had core members, just that their numbers were rather few. For a period of time, Zhou Nan had always wanted to become a core member. If he could become a core member of the Grand Yin Five Elements sect, that way the safety of him and his family would be more guaranteed. Moreover, the resources that core members could obtain were naturally not something that the outer members could compare with. In fact, the outer members of the Five-Element Divination sect were only able to obtain a set of the Five-Element Divination technique. This thing couldn't be said to be very precious, and practically everyone in the Grand Evolution Five Elements sect had a set. Secondly, it carried the name of the Grand Yin Five Elements sect. Zhang Ding had always known where Zhou Nan was. He also knew that he had joined the Five Elements sect. However, it was precisely because he was afraid of the Five Elements sect. That was why he didn't attack Zhou Nan. But tonight, Zhou Nan took the initiative to appear before Zhang Ding. Zhang Ding naturally wouldn't be polite with Zhou Nan. Right now, Zhou Nan was at his wit's end. Therefore, he was considering if he should ask for help from his fellow sect members. Of course, even if he did, he would still have to pay a hefty price. Zhou Nan thought about it, and finally decided to ask for help from a few fellow sect members. And Zhou Nan wasn't the only one who wanted to harm him. Regarding what had happened tonight, Zhang Ding was the one who was even more worried. He had been pressed to the ground in front of his own disciples. To Zhang Ding, this was a great humiliation. For a long time, Zhang Ding had always been at the peak of power. How could he endure such humiliation? He enjoyed the fawning of his subordinates and the flattery of his disciples. He couldn't put down the shelf he was holding. Therefore, he needed revenge. He needed to wash away this humiliation. Perfected Wuxia had already warned him. But how could Zhang Ding listen to Perfected Wuxia's warning? Perfected Wuxia's seniority was extremely high, but he was an idle savage without a sect. He only hung out in a Taoist temple. Therefore, Zhang Ding's warning was like a fart to him. The only person he was worried about was Zhang Tianyi, who was behind Chen Zhao. He even suspected that Chen Zhao's humiliation today might have been incited by Zhang Tianyi. Zhang Ding returned to his lodgings. The more he thought about it, the more unwilling he became. After thinking about it, Zhang Ding finally made a decision. He would get revenge on Chen Zhao. Of course, he couldn't do it openly. After all, he still had to consider Zhang Tianyi's feelings and thoughts. But if it was done by someone other than the Maoshan sect, in that case, he couldn't be blamed for it. After thinking for a long time, Zhang Ding picked up his phone and dialed a number. "What's up, Zhang Daojun?" A teasing voice came from the other end of the phone. Zhang Ding didn't care about the person's tone. After all, they were old acquaintances. They had also worked together many times. De Kuei, I have an enemy here who is very strong, much stronger than me. Do you have any plans? Strength means nothing to me. What do you want me to do? Other than sparing his life, you can do whatever you want. Me? Is it okay for me to kill him? Of course, if you can do it. How much are you going to pay? 1 million yuan. If you can cripple that guy and bring him to me alive, then I can add another 1 million yuan. I want detailed information on the person I'm dealing with, as well as his identity. No, I need to investigate. The guy came back from abroad, so there won't be much information about him in China. You know I don't like to act without knowing the enemy. It's too risky. Plus, the person you're dealing with is stronger than you are. This makes the mission even more difficult. As long as you do this for me, we can sit down and talk about the price again. I don't like to talk about money after the fact. I want it before the mission. Otherwise, who knows if I'll still get the money after you've completed your mission. After all, I've met scammers before. Then how much do you think is suitable? One price, 5 million yuan. You're asking for too much. Chapter 2661. Chen Zhao was about to go upstairs when he saw Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing walk out of the elevator. Boss. Zhang Ting was a bit surprised. It's so late. You're still not going back? I was a bit crazy today, Zhang Ting said, chuckling. It's not safe for you girls to go home, Chen Zhao said. I'll send you back. No need, boss. The security here is much better than abroad. In L.A., Chen Zhao had warned them not to go out alone after 8 at night. They couldn't even go out in a group because L.A. was very unsafe at night. Every night, the various police departments in L.A. had to deal with more than 300 cases. LAPD had more than 500 customers every night. In comparison, Shanghai was also an international metropolis. Its security was countless times better. It was already good if there were a few cases in a night. Even so, it was still very irresponsible to let the two girls go home alone at night. Let's go. Chen Zhao had rented the car for the time being. It would be more convenient for his family to go out. In the car, Chen Zhao asked, "Where did you go today?" The mall, and the mall. Yi Ziqing felt that the foreign woman Chen Zhao had found was really a wastrel. She really enjoyed it, and Fei Lai would occasionally buy things for them. But seeing Fei Lai spend money like water, the two of them were really shocked. It was too scary. In just one day, that wastrel had spent at least 10 million yuan. Even if she was rich, she probably couldn't afford that woman's wastrel, right? Fei Lai bought a lot of things today, right? Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing glanced at each other. A lot? It wasn't something that could be described with just a few words. Fei Lai had almost moved the entire mall home. Fei Lai had spent 2 million in 2 luxury stores. A lot. A lot. It'll probably be troublesome to even get on the plane when we go back. While driving, Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. Is there anything fun around here? How about going out to play? Yi Ziqing asked. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Fei Lai's job is to be a coastal rescue team member. Her job is to soak in the water every day. Also, when we're overseas, we go out once or twice a month. I don't think it's attractive to her. Is this the right way? Chen Zhao asked. That's right. There's a turn up ahead. Drive another 500 meters, and you'll reach Jingli Garden. We're here. The car stopped at the entrance, and the two girls thanked him profusely. All right, let's go in. I'm going back to rest. Boss, do you want to go upstairs for a cup of tea? Forget it. Seeing Chen Zhao drive away, Zhang Ting heaved a sigh of relief. Why do I feel like you're a little disappointed? Yi Ziqing teased. Zhang Ting certainly knew what Yi Ziqing meant. She mocked back. I think you're the one who's disappointed. He's definitely a rich husband. Just as they were about to enter the neighborhood, a man suddenly jumped out from the roadside. The man was dressed decently in a suit, tie, leather shoes, and a 3-piece suit that was the symbol of a successful person. Ziqing, who was the man who brought you back? Yu Keming? Why are you here? Yi Ziqing looked at Yu Keming, who had suddenly appeared. I ask you, who is that man? Yi Ziqing frowned. Zhang Ting was about to speak, but her hand was pulled by Yi Ziqing. However, his hand was pulled by Yi Ziqing. Yi Ziqing took 2 steps forward and said, "Rich man, did you see the car he was driving? Rolls-Royce Phantom, market price 8 million. The man's face turned red and white. Gritting his teeth, he pointed at Yi Ziqing. "Ziqing, when did you become so materialistic? So realistic? You don't even care about your face for money?" Slap. Yi Ziqing threw a slap at the man. "Who are you to me? What right do you have to criticize me? What right do you have to criticize me? Know your place. Ziqing, it's been 2 years. Can't you forgive me?" "Forgive? Forgive you, M.B." Yi Ziqing cursed. "I've raised you for 3 years, and you made me a cuckold. How am I not comparable to that? Is my chest not big enough? Or my butt not perky enough?" Yi Ziqing scolded loudly, causing the man in front of her to take a few steps back. Yi Ziqing, on the other hand, pressed forward step by step, as if she wanted to skin this man alive. "You're not even professional when you're living off a woman. What do I expect you to do?" Yi Ziqing and Yu Keming were classmates. When Yu Keming was in school, he was considered a famous person. He was talented and had a family background. But the year he graduated, Yu Keming's family went bankrupt. Yu Keming could only start his own business. After 3 years, he lost his last bit of capital. At that time, he met Yi Ziqing. At that time, Yi Ziqing was just an ordinary employee in the company. They met each other and fell in love. Yi Ziqing worked hard for her own business. She supported Yu Keming's business. Yi Ziqing basically gave all the money she had saved to Yu Keming. However, Yu Keming was still useless in his business. However, his feelings soared. Yi Ziqing personally put on a show of catching the adulterer in bed. Of course, Yu Keming couldn't defend himself. Yi Ziqing was indeed infatuated with Yu Keming in those years. Basically, Yi Ziqing would agree to anything he said. But in essence, Yi Ziqing was still a smart and capable woman. After catching the adulterer in bed, Yi Ziqing directly let Yu Keming leave the house. Although she couldn't get back all the money she had invested in the past. But she got back most of it. As for Yu Keming, he would look for Yi Ziqing to get back together with her every few days. This wasn't the first time. Zhang Ting was already familiar with it. "While you're still hard, go out and be a gigolo for a few years. Don't appear in front of me, or I'll kill you. Ziqing, forgive me. I don't mind you and that man. Forgive me. Let's call it even, okay?" Hearing this, Yi Ziqing was furious. "Scram. Now. Immediately. Scram right now. Ziqing, help me please. I'm begging you. My employees haven't been paid for 3 months. I only need 1 million. 1 million, and I can solve all the problems." "No scram." Yi Ziqing looked at Yu Keming in disgust. Zhang Ting looked on coldly. She was an outsider. She never took the initiative to be Yi Ziqing's relationship mentor. Yi Ziqing was an adult. She knew what decisions were right. "You don't. That man does, right? Ask that man for a sum. He can drive a luxury car worth 8 million, so 1 or 2 million should be easy, right?" Chapter 2662. Even Zhang Ting, who had always been a bystander, was shocked. They were all stunned by Yu Keming's words. Although she had never interacted with Yu Keming in the past, but at least she had heard Yi Ziqing talk about her past with Yu Keming. Zhang Ting felt that Yu Keming's biggest problem was that he made a mistake that all men would make. Of course, this was mainly because Zhang Ting wasn't as domineering as Yi Ziqing. Therefore, she even felt that it was not a big problem. But now, she felt that Yi Ziqing's explanation to Yu Keming in the past was too one-sided. Scumbag wasn't enough to describe Yu Keming. Other than being a scumbag, he had everything. Yu Keming, on the other hand, had nothing but dregs. A man's courage and dignity were completely gone. Yi Ziqing wasn't surprised by Yu Keming's words at all. She used to think that love was everything to her, so that she couldn't see it clearly. But when she caught Yu Keming in the act, when she recalled the past, she realized that Yu Keming was not only full of emotions, he was a scumbag in all aspects. Yi Ziqing sneered, turned around and walked into the neighborhood. Zhang Ting immediately caught up to Yi Ziqing. The only thing worth rejoicing about was that this was a high-class neighborhood. After all, the 20 yuan per square meter property management fees were not paid for nothing. This was also why Yu Keming had been waiting for Yi Ziqing at the entrance. Yu Qiming wanted to follow Yi Ziqing into the district. However, Yi Ziqing directly said to the security guard, "I don't know him, and I have nothing to do with him." Then Yu Qiming was stopped at the gate. Yi Ziqing, come back. You scapegoat. Don't think this is over. I'm telling you it's not over. It's not over yet. No matter how loudly Yu Qiming shouted at the door, Yi Ziqing pretended not to hear anything. In fact, she didn't need to do anything at all. The security guard at the door had already stretched out his fist of justice. At the same time, it was accompanied by insults such as scum, bastard and bastard. He must have heard a lot of gossip when he was arguing with Yi Ziqing at the door. "Yi Zi, is it really all right? You allowed that bastard to spout nonsense at the door and tarnish your reputation. What can I do? Call the police to arrest him? The police will only treat it as an ordinary emotional dispute." Yi Ziqing also had Yi Ziqing's helplessness. In the end, it was still a problem of the strength of the government's judicial procedures. If this was overseas, using insulting words to attack others on the streets would basically send them to jail. In China, it would be difficult to even punish public security. There was nothing Yi Ziqing could do about it. This was the compromise that ordinary people had with scoundrels. Scoundrels were feared because they had no bottom line. And the reason why ordinary people were ordinary people was because they were helpless against scoundrels. How about asking my boss for help? Haha. No matter how capable your boss is, what can he do in the country? His connections and power are all overseas. He's just a rich man in the country. Most of the people Yi Ziqing interacted with were rich. Therefore, she understood the difference between the rich and the powerful. The rich were commonly known as the nouveau riche. In terms of social connections and qualifications, they were no different from ordinary people. However, it was different for people with power and influence. Perhaps to them, just a word or the time it took to eat a meal was all it took for an ordinary person to run around for a few months, use connections everywhere, and spend a large sum of money to get things done. Yi Ziqing did not doubt that Chen Zhao had huge connections and resources overseas. After all, it was very difficult to obtain such a large amount of wealth without connections and resources. However, overseas resources were useless in the country. Even the black card, known as the Wishing Dragon Ball, could not be used in the country. Back then, Citibank had claimed that all users with a black card needed to call their financial butler and say that they wanted to spend the night with a Hollywood movie queen. Basically, by the time they got home, the movie queen would already be lying on the bed after washing up. However, in the country no one would give a damn if they called. Therefore, Yi Ziqing did not believe that Chen Zhao had a solution at all. Yu Qiming was a scoundrel, so he was invincible right now. When the two girls entered the lobby of the apartment building, the lights flickered. However, the two did not care. They thought that it was just a problem with the power supply. However, when they reached the elevator, they realized that the elevator did not open even after pressing it for a long time. Damn, did the 2,000 yuan a month feed the dogs? Yi Ziqing was clearly in a bad mood. Usually, she would not say something like this. The elevator door still did not open. Yi Ziqing's patience had run out. She had not gone berserk yet, which meant that Yi Ziqing was well-mannered. Let's take the elevator. Yi, it's 3:25 in the morning, and we live on the 21st floor. Then what should we do? Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing were both in despair. 21st floor. It was a path to heaven. Even if they found the property manager now, they would only be able to fix the elevator tomorrow at the earliest. Hey, boss. What's up? Are you home? Boss, are you back at the hotel? On the way. Can you come over and pick us up at the door? We plan to stay at the hotel for the night. Okay. Chen Zhao did not ask why. When Chen Zhao drove back to the entrance of the neighborhood, Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing were waiting for him there. After getting in the car, Chen Zhao noticed that Yi Ziqing's expression did not look good. What's wrong? Not comfortable at home? You want to stay at the hotel for the night? The elevator is broken when you get to the door, and you can't go up. Or you can climb the stairs to the 21st floor. That's why living so high up is the most troublesome. Luckily, my house is not that high. Yes, Chen Zhao's house was so high. Mirror Lake Manor had 4 floors above ground and 3 floors below ground. Mingyue Villa was slightly higher. After all, it was built on a cliff. However, Chen Zhao saw something else on Yi Ziqing. It was a very strange thing. He had only seen it in Xiangjiang movies. More accurately, he had only heard of it in Xiangjiang movies. Her glabella was black. There seemed to be a black cloud covering the center of Yi Ziqing's brows. Oh, look at Ms. Ye's expression. You probably met someone and something unpleasant happened, Chen Zhao said casually, seeming to be unintentional. Don't mention that person to me. It's bad luck. Yi Ziqing was still angry. I also think that you're full of bad luck, haha. After returning to the hotel, Chen Zhao personally checked the 2 girls in. Boss, we don't have to stay that long. You don't have to book us that long. I've already restrained myself a lot. If I don't book them for a year, I'll be letting down these 3 rich people. Chapter 2663. Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing both smiled bitterly. Then the 2 went to their room. They confirmed once again that Chen Zhao really wasn't interested in them. Chen Zhao didn't go back to his room to sleep. Apart from Fei Lai, Portia was also in the room. Zephyr slept in the suite with the kids. Chen Zhao couldn't go back to his room to rest at all. Chen Zhao wanted to get another room. But after thinking about it, he realized that there were only 2 hours until dawn. He didn't have to get another room. Plus, for Chen Zhao, there wasn't much difference between sleeping and not sleeping. Chen Zhao didn't need to rely on sleep to recover his energy. He just sat in the lobby and started playing on his phone. Just then a group of people entered the lobby. 2 burly bodyguards led the way. In the middle was a fair-skinned man with a few assistants around him. While the assistants were checking in, the man walked to Chen Zhao's table. The 2 bodyguards were about to chase Chen Zhao away and let their employer sit down. Suddenly the man shouted, "Mr. Chen!" Chen Zhao looked up. "Wang He, why are you here?" "Mr. Chen, why are you here?" The 2 bodyguards thought that it was a close call. They'd almost bumped into their employer's friend. Chen Zhao glanced at the 2 bodyguards. "They're your bodyguards?" Yeah. Perhaps it was because of their low status. But Wang He always felt like he couldn't raise his head before Chen Zhao. They were afraid of Chen Zhao abroad. Technically, Chen Zhao's influence in the country should be gone. But he still instinctively feared Chen Zhao. "Do you have such a big lineup in the middle of the night?" Wang He's team had 12 bodyguards and assistants. Wang He became even more embarrassed. "It's because without such a big lineup, we probably wouldn't even be able to get out of the airport," he explained. "It's so late. Are there still fans picking you up?" "Can't help it. It's all arranged by the company," Wang He said with a wry smile. "Actually, our whereabouts will be disclosed by the company to our fans, and then arrange for our fans to come and pick us up at the airport. If there are no fans to pick us up at the airport, the next day the entertainment news will probably report that a certain celebrity's popularity has plummeted. So even at night, other than a small number of true fans, there are also some professional fans who have been hired by the company. They are there to cheer for us celebrities." "Okay, looks like it's hard on you too." Chen Zhao could understand. The seemingly glamorous superstars also had their own unknown hardships. Of course, even so, there were still many young people who wanted to become famous. "By the way, Mr. Chen, why are you here?" "I'm coming back with my family for a few days," Chen Zhao said. "But shouldn't you be resting now?" "The bet's been taken," Chen Zhao said helplessly. Wang He couldn't help but chuckle. That made sense. This was the only reason why Chen Zhao would sit here. At this time, a woman wearing glasses walked over. "Ahi, pay attention to your image. Don't interact with strangers for no reason. The check-in procedures are done. Let's go back to our rooms. We still have activities tomorrow." "Sisterly, this is my friend, not a stranger." "Ahi, you have to understand that you're an international superstar now. Don't make friends with just anyone. It's easy to be led into a ditch." Wang He thought that he was already very close to Chen Zhao. There wouldn't be any cracks just because of a few stupid words from others. However, his own manager's words still made him feel very embarrassed. That's right, it was extremely embarrassing. It was fine if Sisterly talked to clients like this normally. After all, as his own manager, He had to maintain a certain style most of the time. Therefore, an arrogant attitude would often have different effects. But Chen Zhao was different. Chen Zhao wasn't his fan, nor was he his client. On the contrary, he was indebted to Chen Zhao. Wang He, did you change your manager? Chen Zhao asked. Chen Zhao had an impression of Wang He's previous manager. She seemed to be a little girl. She probably wasn't as old as Wang He, but she had 3 artists, including Wang He. Sisterly, it was arranged by the company, Wang He said calmly. From his tone, Chen Zhao could vaguely sense that he was dissatisfied with the company. If he could, Wang He would rather have the previous manager. Although she was a little unfamiliar with the business, she was still better than the current Sisterly. Sisterly was a very domineering manager. To put it bluntly, she was very controlling. And with Wang He's current status in the entertainment industry, to put it more arrogantly, he was the movie superstar with the most box office appeal. What he needed was a manager who could serve him. He didn't need a manager who treated him like a toy and controlled his actions constantly. No matter how good Sisterly was, she wouldn't be accepted by Wang He. Actually, in the entertainment industry, big artists usually had mid-level managers. Mid-level managers had certain connections and business skills, but they weren't bad-tempered and were easy to get along with. Most of the time, they would listen to the artist's decisions. Big managers, on the other hand, worked with newcomers because they had the means to control them. Moreover, they had a higher chance of helping newcomers debut or even become famous. These were all industry conventions. It wasn't like there weren't big-name managers working with big-name artists in the entertainment industry. But the best outcome was to work together for a year or 2, and then break up peacefully. Most of the collaborations ended in a heated argument, and ended on bad terms. It was understandable that the manager had the most resources and connections in the company, and was also the best at business. But Wang He was already the number 1 in the company now. In terms of status, he was even more popular than Chen Ku, the actress. Of course, the two didn't have conflicting resources, and Chen Zhao was the middleman. So the two had a good relationship. After all, they were both the number 1 brother and sister in the company, so they didn't have any conflicts in private. On the other hand, Wang He's popularity and charisma were much stronger than Chen Ku's. So, he wouldn't be submissive to his manager and the company like before. He could express his emotions and thoughts at will. But the company had arranged a manager like Sisterly for him. He couldn't accept this. Both of them had their own tempers. So it was only a matter of time before this team disbanded. Are you going to change managers? Or change companies? Chen Zhao asked. Chen Zhao remembered that the head of this company was also Chen Ku's manager. Wang He glanced at Sisterly. Hearing Chen Zhao's words, Sisterly's expression changed. But she didn't soften. Instead, she stared at Wang He coldly. She wanted to see how Wang He would answer. Chapter 2664. Of course not, Wang He said, chuckling. It was an adult conflict of interest, unless he had a 100% chance of winning. Otherwise, he wouldn't say what was on his mind in front of Chen Zhao. Compared to the young and energetic Wang He from a year ago, he wasn't just more famous in the past year. Even his words and actions were much more mature. However, from the look in Wang He's eyes and face, it was obvious that he was unhappy. Mr. Chen, didn't we agree in L.A. to let me know when you come back? I'll be your host. You sound like I'm not from China. Host. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. What's your next plan, Mr. Chen? Okay, superstar. You have a lot of work. I can reject them. Wang He's attitude was very sincere. Wang He blurted out without any hesitation. Beside him, Sisterly panicked. Chen Zhao chuckled. Don't. I'm not in the entertainment industry, nor do I have any projects related to it. I can't compensate you. Mr. Chen, you must be joking. I just want to give myself a break. Wang He didn't think that Chen Zhao was worthless. After all, it was all thanks to Chen Zhao that he was where he was today. Next time. Chen Zhao shrugged. Chen Zhao had a few friends in Hollywood. Chen Ku was also his cousin in the Chinese entertainment industry. He knew how busy these celebrities were. For others, New Year was a big break, but for celebrities, it was the best time to earn money. If Chen Zhao took Wang He on a break in just a few days, he would lose at least 10 million. If Wang He really wanted to, Chen Zhao wouldn't mind asking him to go somewhere else to play for a while after some time. Sisterly stopped talking. She just stood at the side and watched Chen Zhao and Wang He chat. She already knew that Wang He was very unhappy with her. If she interfered with his private life again, then he might flip the table with her. Actually, she had also guessed why the company had arranged for her to be Wang He's manager. That was to control Wang He. Complete control. After all, it was rare for the company to raise a superstar like Wang He. Naturally, she didn't want Wang He to be out of control. However, Wang He had already soared to the top. His stay and departure were no longer restricted by the company. If it was a small artist or a small celebrity, the company would directly ban them, and they would become a missing person. However, it was useless on Wang He. Wang He could just forcefully terminate the contract and pay a penalty for breaching the contract. There were even quite a number of companies that were willing to help Wang He pay the penalty fee. Furthermore, the company had arranged for a powerful agent like Sister Lee to work with Wang He. The final outcome would definitely not be Wang He coming to a compromise. Instead, it would be Wang He breaking up. It's getting late. Go get some rest. Chen Zhao patted Wang He's shoulder. It was already past 5 o'clock in the morning, and the sky would be bright in an hour. To be honest, even if Wang He still had the energy, his bodyguards wouldn't. This time, Wang He did not reject it. In fact, he was also waiting for a way out. After all, he was just an ordinary person and needed rest. Mr. Chen rest early too. Chen Zhao nodded with a smile, but he didn't plan on resting. Just as Wang He and his men left, a man came over. This person was Yu Keming. He had been sitting in a seat not far away. It was only after Wang He left that he walked over. Hello sir, may I know you? My surname is Yu Keming. This is my name card. Chen Zhao noticed this man. When he was chatting with Wang He earlier, this man had been sitting not far away. In fact, it was hard not to attract attention if Chen Zhao did not return to his room to rest at this time. Especially when this man kept glancing at her from time to time. Chen Zhao did not take the name card, because he had a very bad impression of this man. During his 2 years abroad, Chen Zhao had learned many foreigners' habits, but he hadn't learned how to be familiar with others. Chen Zhao remained sitting in his seat with his legs crossed. He looked up at Yu Keming. What's the matter? Yu Keming put away the name card awkwardly. He sat in the seat that Wang He had been sitting in. Sir, I'm Yi Ziqing's boyfriend. What's the matter? Chen Zhao replied calmly. Sir, don't you think you should give me some compensation? Yu Keming didn't beat around the bush. My girlfriend didn't come home last night and was brought to the hotel by you. If you don't give her some compensation, I think it'll affect your reputation greatly. Oh, then how much do you want? Chen Zhao still had the same indifferent attitude. Yu Keming hesitated. After a while he said, 10 million. Just 10 million, and I'll let bygones be bygones. 10 million is enough? Yu Keming's eyes brightened. He had thought that Chen Zhao would bargain with him. He did not expect the man to be so straightforward and ask if 10 million was enough. If you want me to break up with Ziqing completely, give me another 10 million. You're not worth that much, Chen Zhao said, smiling. Chen Zhao realized that Yu Keming had turned on the recording function of his phone. Chuckling, he said, I'll just find a random person and pay them 1 million. They'll probably be happy to kill you. Without realizing it, Chen Zhao was using the same tactics he used abroad to deal with Yu Keming. Yu Keming laughed. He felt that it was a wise decision to record Chen Zhao's words. If they were abroad, the foreigners would definitely be scared to death by Chen Zhao. But this was China. Everyone was used to good security. So, Yu Keming only thought that Chen Zhao must be out of his mind. Or maybe he had watched too many Xiangjiang movies. He felt that Chen Zhao's words were really stupid. But these stupid words were very useful to him. If Chen Zhao had a big company, he could use it as a threat. After all, Chen Zhao's words could easily affect the company's reputation. So he had to get rid of the negative effects of Chen Zhao's words. I want 50 million now, Yu Keming said confidently. At the same time, he took out his phone. I recorded everything you said just now. Chen Zhao suddenly laughed. Haha, are you joking? So what if I said it? What if I give the recording to your competitor? Then you'd better contact my company's competitor, Chen Zhao said mockingly. Ha! Just like how Chen Zhao was used to using a foreigner's way of talking, Yu Qiming was also using Chinese rules to guess Chen Zhao. Chapter 2665. The rich foreigners were much dirtier than the rich people in China. The so-called African hunting clubs were all on the surface. Some of the dirty ways to seek pleasure were unimaginable to bystanders. There were even some scary killing games. But even if people outside this class knew about it, it would be hard for it to be exposed. In a society dominated by capital, when people in this class didn't want outsiders to know certain information, it would be hard for it to be exposed. So Chen Zhao didn't care about the recording at all. Let's not talk about whether Chen Zhao would really let him record it. Even if he did, it could only be spread in China. Because Chen Zhao was a giant capitalist. In order to defeat a capitalist, apart from using business methods, he could only use political methods. If Yu Qiming could really beat Chen Zhao in business or politics, he wouldn't have come to blackmail Chen Zhao. Yu Qiming's naive idea couldn't deal with Chen Zhao, a rich person whose assets were all abroad. It wouldn't work even in China. Extorting 20 million yuan for a recording? Even robbing a bank wasn't like that. You better watch a few more Xinjiang police movies. Even blackmail is so unprofessional, Chen Zhao said mockingly. Being poor isn't scary, Chen Zhao said in a mocking tone. What's scary is being uneducated. Also, I'm very suspicious about Ms. Ye's boyfriend. How blind must she be to find someone like you? Yu Qiming's face turned red. He glared at Chen Zhao. Yi Ziqing had said that living off a woman wasn't professional. Now, Chen Zhao said that blackmail wasn't professional. You bastard. Yu Qiming finally couldn't hold it in anymore. He punched Chen Zhao's face. But could Chen Zhao be beaten by this mooch spinner? Dodging Yu Qiming's fist, he almost lost his footing. Stumbling 2 steps, Chen Zhao secretly stuck out a foot and tripped him. Then his head hit the corner of the table. Ah! Blood! I'm bleeding! Help! Help! I'm beaten to death. Just then the receptionist ran over. Sir, what happened here? Nothing, Chen Zhao said calmly. You can call the police. Also, I think you should tell your manager to keep the surveillance footage, because I need it. To Chen Zhao, this wasn't a problem at all. The Los Angeles Police Department had become his second home. This kind of situation was considered a fight in the country, which was a violation of public security regulations. Chen Zhao hadn't even been sent to the police station for such a minor issue. I've lost a lot of blood. I want to check the wound. The guard glanced at Chen Zhao again. He recognized that Chen Zhao was a guest of the hotel, while the one on the ground looked like a scoundrel. However, it was true that he had bled a lot. Call the police first, Chen Zhao said calmly. As for his situation, the police will decide. Although he had used one of his legs just now, he had already known the location of the surveillance camera. He would definitely not be discovered by the surveillance camera. Not long after, the police arrived. They were a man and a woman. The 2 policemen looked at Yu Qiming, who was sitting on the ground and covering his forehead with a tissue. Then he glanced at Chen Zhao, who was sitting on the sofa and drinking hot tea. What's going on? The policeman asked. Officer. Seeing the police, Yu Qiming immediately jumped up and grabbed the policeman's wrist. You have to help me. I was hit. He hit me. The 2 policemen looked at Chen Zhao. They realized that he was still as calm as ever. It was rare for them to see someone so calm. Tell me what's going on. He ran to me and said that I had an affair with his girlfriend, and then asked me for 30 million. The thing on the table is his phone. There should be a recording of our conversation. Seeing that I didn't agree, he got angry and wanted to beat me up. In the end, he didn't even touch me and fell down. The hotel's surveillance camera recorded the scene, Chen Zhao said calmly. What's your relationship with his girlfriend? His girlfriend is a friend of my employee. They live upstairs now. If I'm related to Miss Yi, I wouldn't have been sitting here drinking tea the whole night. If it didn't involve Yi Ziqing, Chen Zhao couldn't be bothered to explain. After all, It wouldn't affect the outcome whether he explained or not. However, Chen Zhao didn't want to ruin a woman's reputation, so it was better to be clear. If you're not related, why would he say that you're related? Shameless way of thinking. Also, I wonder if they're boyfriend and girlfriend. It's all because of you. If it weren't for you, Ziqing and I wouldn't have broken up. She must have come to you because you're rich. Huh? So you broke up long ago. Chen Zhao sneered at Yu Keming. I just came back yesterday. Before yesterday, I didn't even know Miss Yi. Also, you'd better watch your words. Otherwise, I think I'll have to contact my lawyer and teach you what defamation is. Yu Keming looked at Chen Zhao coldly. Actually, the matter was already very obvious. But the two policemen had never seen someone with such a good attitude. Fake foreigner, the policewoman snorted softly. Chen Zhao raised an eyebrow. Officer, your female colleague seems to have something against me. The male officer was clearly more experienced than the policewoman. He chuckled. She's not targeting anyone. Sir, you don't have to put yourself in her shoes. Plus, it's only your side of the story. So I need you both to come back to the station with me to assist in the investigation. You still need to go back to the station? Isn't it obvious already? It's not up to you to decide, the policewoman said. Then can I call my lawyer? Chen Zhao asked. Sure. Although the policewoman didn't like Chen Zhao, he wasn't brought to the station as a suspect. Even she could only bring Chen Zhao in the name of assisting in the investigation. Moreover, the police in China were much gentler than abroad. Unless it was a serious crime or a special criminal, they would be restrained and not allowed to make a phone call. Officer, I need treatment. I need to check my injuries. Are you bringing him to the hospital or should I? The male officer asked. You bring him to the hospital. I'll bring him to the station, the policewoman said. Chen Zhao glanced at Yu Keming. Yu Keming was holding his forehead, but when he looked at Chen Zhao, his eyes were filled with hatred. Just you wait. I'm going to sue you. Chapter 2666. Chen Zhao sat in the policewoman's police car. Put your feet down. The policewoman watched as Chen Zhao sat cross-legged in the back seat. Her expression darkened. Are you embarrassing Chinese like this when you're abroad? Ha! It's my car. I can sit however I want. This isn't your car. The policewoman stared at Chen Zhao with a dark expression. I'm helping the investigation, right? I'm not a suspect. Logically speaking, you should be the one begging me. Helping the investigation sounds nice, the policewoman said coldly. Actually, you're no different from a suspect. Logically speaking, that has nothing to do with me. Even if I did, it would be self-defense. In China, you only know how to defend yourself. Why do I feel like you're filled with hostility toward me? Do we know each other? Or is there something between us? No, I just don't like you. As a policewoman, shouldn't you look at everyone objectively? My personal emotions do not affect my judgment of the case, nor do they affect my judgment of people. Then you have to tell me how I offended you, right? You didn't offend me. I just hate you. That's all. That's all. Before this, I didn't even know you. Chen Zhao was really confused. There had to be a reason why he was hated for no reason, right? Chen Zhao glanced at the policewoman. Is it because I've been abroad? The policewoman's expression changed instantly. Chen Zhao froze. Did I really guess it right? Don't tell me you were dumped by a guy who used going abroad as an excuse. Shut up. The policewoman flew into a rage out of humiliation. Ha! I really guessed it right. Chen Zhao laughed. I told you to shut up. He really used going abroad as an excuse to dump you. The policewoman's chest heaved up and down. Finally, she couldn't hold it in anymore, and tears welled up in her eyes. However, she didn't want Chen Zhao to see it. She turned her head and secretly wiped away her tears. Seeing that the policewoman was crying, Chen Zhao immediately stopped joking. What's that guy's name? If I see him next time, I'll beat him up for you. The policewoman didn't say anything and just kept driving. After a few minutes, the policewoman finally said, We grew up together and confirmed our relationship in high school. 2 years ago he wanted to study abroad. Before he left, he told me to wait for him. The policewoman choked and said, But last year, he said he got married. In order to get a green card, He married a foreign woman. In the end, he only said sorry. I cough cough. Who the fuck wants his apology? I don't need sorry. Do you need a tissue? The policewoman took the tissue and suddenly turned her head. Where did you get the tissue? I carry it with me. Is there a problem? Do you carry a box of tissues with you? The officer looked at Chen Zhao cautiously. Chen Zhao was holding a box of tissues. No matter how she looked at it, it didn't seem like it could fit on his body. Oh, I picked it up from the ground. Chen Zhao shrugged. It's just a box of tissues. Why are you so nervous? Don't you think you should look straight when you're driving? The policewoman's eyes flashed as she looked at Chen Zhao. She didn't find anything suspicious. You'd better behave yourself. How am I behaving? Chen Zhao didn't care. Oh, where did that guy go? California. I think it's Los Angeles. Oh, what a coincidence. I'm also in Los Angeles. What's he doing overseas? I don't know, but he's studying finance. Suddenly, the policewoman slammed on the brakes. What are you doing? I drove the wrong way, the policewoman said awkwardly. Chen Zhao was speechless. You're a local. How could you drive the wrong way? Do you know how to speak human language? I'm the people's police, not a local. Okay, people's police. Find the way quickly. Are you in a hurry to confess to the police? I don't want to waste too much time on the road. Your people will think that I ran away. Chen Zhao rolled down the window. Where are we? The policewoman also rolled down the window, also confused. Then she opened the navigation on her phone. Haha. People's police, are you kidding me? Chen Zhao mocked her. Shut up. Shanghai is so big. Even if you're a local, you might not have been to every place. No need to explain. Explaining is covering up, and covering up is making up stories. The policewoman's face darkened. My phone doesn't have signal. Where's yours? Chen Zhao took out his phone and looked. Mine doesn't have signal either. That's weird. Look around. We should still be in the city. With the current coverage of signal bases in the country, almost every populated area had a signal base. Not to mention, there were no blind spots in the city. Don't tell me you got too excited and drove out of the city. This doesn't look like a city. It looks more like a demolished old city. The policewoman tried to restart the car, but it didn't respond at all. The policewoman glanced at Chen Zhao and opened the door to get out. Don't get out. Before she could finish, Chen Zhao had already gotten out. Are you ignoring my words? This place looks weird, Chen Zhao said. Haven't you realized? This doesn't look like a place for people to live. If it's not for people, then ghosts. The policewoman rolled her eyes. You've lived abroad for 2 years. Have you forgotten all about materialism? Huh. Foreigners are more superstitious than locals. Chen Zhao said, chuckling. However, he was also a little confused. This place didn't look normal, very abnormal. Had they accidentally barged in here? Or had someone dragged them here on purpose? I don't feel comfortable here. How about we go back to the car and see if it can start? Coward. The policewoman glanced at Chen Zhao. I'm not coward. I'm just cautious. If you're scared, then you're scared. Why find so many excuses? Do you watch horror movies? What are you trying to say? Don't you think this situation is very similar to a horror movie? 2 cannon fodder barged into some death zone and became real cannon fodder. Don't scare yourself. The policewoman wasn't scared at all. Chen Zhao couldn't persuade her at all. The policewoman glanced at Chen Zhao beside her. What? Aren't you afraid of death? Why are you here? It's a horror movie. If I want to go back to the car alone, something horrible will happen to me. Huh. The policewoman suddenly looked up at the abandoned building on the left. What's wrong? I think I heard someone scream in the building. Are you hallucinating? I didn't hear anything. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. No, I really heard it. Chen Zhao looked at the policewoman. His hearing was definitely much better than hers, but he didn't hear anything. Chapter 2667. Chen Zhao was sure that the policewoman didn't hear it. There was no reason she could hear it, but he couldn't. You must have heard it wrong. I didn't. How could I? I heard it very clearly, the policewoman said with certainty. Chen Zhao felt a little stifled. He couldn't persuade the girl to come back. Don't you think that this is the plot of a supernatural movie? Shut up. The policewoman glared at Chen Zhao. Are you that scared of ghosts? Of course. You're not scared of ghosts. No. You're not because you've never seen one before. Oh, so you're scared of ghosts because you've seen one before? You wouldn't believe me even if I said I've seen one before. Clang. The policewoman kicked open the door on the first floor. She kicked a hole in the wooden door. The policewoman reached her hand in through the hole and unlocked the door. We're trespassing, right? There's a ghost living in this shitty place. Maybe it really is a ghost's place. Are you done? There weren't houses on either side of the street. It was probably an abandoned commercial street. Chen Zhao followed the policewoman into the house and went up the stairs to the second floor. The second floor had probably been used as an indoor shop. There was a passageway with many compartments on both sides. These had all been used as small shops in the past. However, it was already empty now. All that was left was empty, and the ground was littered with trash. Just then, Chen Zhao and the policewoman saw a figure at the end of the passageway. The figure was sitting on a chair. It was clearly in the dim passageway. However, the figure was very eye-catching. It was so eye-catching that it made one's hair stand on end. Chen Zhao frowned. He could see the figure, but he couldn't feel it. Moreover, Chen Zhao realized that he couldn't see it clearly at all. Was it a ghost from China? Chen Zhao wasn't sure, but the figure didn't give him a good feeling. Perhaps because he didn't know, Chen Zhao was very cautious. The policewoman didn't think too much. She strode forward. Hey there, the policewoman called loudly. However, when she was less than 10 feet away from the figure became fainter and fainter. In the end, it disappeared. The policewoman was stunned. In that instant, she broke out in a cold sweat. Pa! Ah! The policewoman's shoulder was heavily patted, and she screamed in fear. You know fear too? Chen Zhao stood behind the policewoman. Ghost. A ghost. I saw. Chen Zhao looked at the policewoman mockingly. Weren't you not afraid earlier? The policewoman's expression was very ugly. Maybe I'm just seeing things. I don't think I'm seeing things. I also saw that figure just now, and then it disappeared. I don't think it's possible that both of us are seeing things at the same time. The policewoman's expression became even more bitter. You really saw it too. So, this is obviously the plot of a horror movie. The policewoman shivered. Let's get out of here. How could he leave so casually after entering this place? When the two of them tried to leave, they realized that the road behind them had changed. Even Chen Zhao looked confused, because even he did not notice when the road behind him had changed. Ghost hits the wall. This is ghost hits the wall. We can't get out. The policewoman sobbed. Her face was full of sadness. She was not as strong as she looked. Chen Zhao narrowed his eyes and released his little world. But he did not feel anything. It was a desolate place. There seemed to be nothing. Let's go, Chen Zhao said. We can't just wait here. Let's walk around, and maybe we can find the way out. What if we can't find the way? There are windows here. This is only the second floor. We won't die even if we jump down. The policewoman looked at a cubicle. I don't think there are windows here. Is this an alternate space? Chen Zhao was confused. To be honest, Chen Zhao was also very curious about Chinese spells. After all, Chen Zhao was also an expert in alternate spaces. But now, he had actually been pulled into this area that seemed to be an alternate space without a sound. It was either that the person was extremely powerful, or that the person's spells were strange, and Chen Zhao was not familiar with them. But Chen Zhao did not mind trying. Chen Zhao walked into the cubicle and tried to push. Crash! The wall collapsed instantly, revealing a huge hole. The policewoman's eyeballs almost popped out. This wall is too loose. Chen Zhao pursed his lips. It's a jerry-built project. Maybe that's why this place was demolished. The wall was not real. It was probably just a facade. There was some kind of energy inside, probably an earth spell. Chen Zhao did not use too much strength. He only used a bit more strength than breaking the wall. Chen Zhao had thought that the wall formed by this spell would be very hard. But that was not the case. It was indeed a bit harder than a wall made of bricks and soil. But it was only a bit harder. It was far from being invincible. It was also not strong enough to block Chen Zhao's strength. Just then, somewhere outside the area, a Taoist priest suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. The priest's face paled. Damn, that person is also a cultivator. That bastard Yu Keming. He tricked me. Suddenly, the priest spat out another mouthful of blood. Again. Fuck, that bastard wants to break my small world. Wah. As he spoke, the priest spat out another mouthful of blood. His mouth was like a water faucet. Large amounts of blood sprayed out like crazy. The small world was his unique spell. It opened up an alternate space that was neither too big nor too small. However, normally speaking, if one didn't have enough cultivation, they wouldn't be able to maintain a separate space. But his sect took a different approach. Then, under the shocked expression of the breakfast stall owner, Chen Zhao stood up and left as if nothing had happened. Boss, 2 buns and a bag of soy milk. When Rolling came out of the station, she realized that the breakfast stall owner was actually packing up. No, they're all sold out. Are you kidding? It's only 7. You're already sold out? Rolling was a regular customer of the breakfast stall. After all, it was right outside the police station. The people in the station would basically come here every morning. Usually, the owner would only pack up at around 8:30. It's not even 7:30 today. Why did the boss start to pack up? I'm not kidding. A young man just came out of your station and ate all my breakfast by himself. Our station? Who? How immoral. I don't think he's from your station. He doesn't look familiar, and there are a few girls with him. One of them is even a big girl. Rolling's face darkened. She knew who it was without guessing. He packed up the rest of them? No, he finished it all by himself at the stall, leaving nothing behind. I've never seen someone with such an appetite. I reckon he must have eaten the portion of 20 or 30 people's portions. Zhongting, are there any food streets in Shanghai? There are many. Boss, do you want to go? I'm just greedy, Chen Zhao said honestly. And I didn't eat enough from the breakfast stall. Then I'll take you there in the afternoon, Zhongting said. In the afternoon? It's not open in the morning. There's nothing to eat there. Okay. At noon, Chen Zhao made do with a meal in the hotel restaurant. I made do with a meal. Zhongting and Yi Ziqing watched as Chen Zhao wolfed down the food. They were really worried that his stomach would explode. Only Fei Lai looked indifferent. She and Portia took care of the kids while eating. Thankfully, Chen Zhao had booked the entire restaurant at this time, so no one saw his monstrous table manners. Waiter, hurry up and serve the food. Chen Zhao snapped his fingers. Just then, the restaurant manager ran over sweating profusely. I'm sorry, sir. We don't have enough food. Not enough food? Didn't your restaurant prepare more ingredients? The manager wanted to cry. We did. But Chen Zhao ate enough food for dozens of people. We're not roadside stalls. We only prepared enough food for dozens of people. Darling, you still have to go to the food street in the afternoon, Fei Lai said. Don't eat too much, or you'll lose your appetite. Okay, that's it for now. Chen Zhao glanced at the manager. I'm booking the entire restaurant after 7. You better prepare more food. Okay, sir. The manager was speechless. Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing were already dumbfounded. They followed Chen Zhao out of the restaurant. Boss, how about we rest in the hotel and go to the food street another time? No, I'm not full yet. Boss, how much did you eat just now? You're not full yet. Chapter 2670. 30 minutes later, the waiters of the Japanese ramen shop all stared at Chen Zhao dumbfounded. The boss was about to cry. How much was super ramen? It was about the size of a regular person's basin. Then Chen Zhao finished it in 3 minutes. The time limit for the super condition was 20 minutes. Ever since the Japanese ramen shop started, no one had been able to complete this challenge. Each bowl of super ramen costs 1,288 yuan. And today this challenge had met its greatest enemy. Finishing the challenge in 3 minutes already showed how powerful this person was. But in the next 30 minutes, he ordered 10 bowls of super ramen. Then Chen Zhao's stomach was like a bottomless pit. Every time Chen Zhao ate a bowl of super ramen, the owner would lose more than $1,000. Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing didn't know what to say anymore. Boss, give me 3 more bowls. Chen Zhao was rich, but who wouldn't like free food? Chen Zhao didn't have the dignity of a billionaire at all. Free food was an insult to them. Bro, are you eating from a rich person? The boss couldn't help but say. Bro, I'm begging you. Go to another shop. Bro, I'm begging you. Go to another shop. No, your ramen has enough portions. It's really good. See that skewer shop across the street? If you can eat 300 skewers, not only will it be free, but you'll also get a lifetime membership. The boss's trick was very immoral, but he had no choice. If Chen Zhao ate more, his ramen shop would go bankrupt. They're having an event too. Chen Zhao raised his head and looked at the skewer shop across the street. Although it was only afternoon, the shop was already packed with people. I have to line up. I'll get someone to line up for you, the boss said hurriedly. The owner of the ramen shop fully demonstrated that it was better for him to die than for himself. Chen Zhao finally smiled in satisfaction. A while later, Chen Zhao changed his position. The waiters of the skewer shop clearly didn't know that the demon had arrived. They served Chen Zhao, Zhang Ting, and Yi Ziqing enthusiastically. But an hour later, the shop was in chaos. Even the original customers stopped eating. They surrounded Chen Zhao to see how much he could eat. Zhang Ting and Yi Ziqing lowered their heads. They were not used to such an atmosphere. They could no longer describe Chen Zhao's appetite. How much had Chen Zhao eaten since morning? Was his stomach a bottomless pit? Then Chen Zhao was asked out of the kebab shop. The temple was too small to accommodate such a great Buddha. Chen Zhao was here to ruin the store. After that, the news spread throughout the entire street. The stores that originally had Big Eater King events all canceled their own events. If such a demon king found his shop, would he still be able to open his shop? Although he didn't have the Big Stomach King discount. However, Chen Zhao didn't plan to give up. He continued eating. Then, you and I won't need to do anything. Someone will naturally take care of him for you. Can your dirty technique really take care of him? He's not weak. If he survives this with his personality, both you and I will be in big trouble. Dirty technique can't be cured. Are you sure? If you don't believe me, you can try it yourself, but I can't guarantee your safety. Okay, I believe you. I'll transfer the rest of the money to your account. Thanks. Chapter 2672. Yuki was currently healing at home. This was because the alternate dimension that had fused with his primordial spirit was in a mess. As a result, his mind was in a mess. His soul was injured, which made it difficult for him to even focus. His mana was greatly reduced too. Thus, Yuki had been in seclusion for the past 2 days. He hid in this remote house to rest. Actually, Yuki's injuries seemed serious, but they weren't actually that bad. As long as Yuki focused on healing, he would be fine in 3 to 5 months. After all, the injuries weren't fatal, and there wouldn't be any side effects. However, Yuki still felt uneasy these past 2 days. It was as if something was about to happen. Yuki was from the spiritual world. Something was bound to happen when one felt something. To put it bluntly, spiritualists both at home and abroad all believed in heavenly perception. That flash of spiritual light seemed illusory, but it could affect a person's decision. Thankfully, the 7 Imperial School was in the suburbs of Shanghai. It wasn't far from where he lived. Right now Yuki, who was healing, suddenly stopped and frowned. That uneasy feeling came back to him again. This time, the feeling was much stronger than the previous few times. Yuki immediately stood up. He picked up his phone and dialed his teacher's number. Master, are you in this sect? Yes, what's up? I need to go back. Can you open the gate for me? Why aren't you having fun outside? Why are you back? Did you get into trouble outside? I got injured outside. I need to go back and hide for a while. Yuki didn't hide it. Okay, we'll talk when you get back. After hanging up, Yuki drove to the gate. On the way, Yuki's phone rang again. Yuki, where are you? I can't get through to you. You're not home either. Yukiming was furious. He'd been bullied by Chen Zhao earlier, and now he was venting all of it on Yuki. In his eyes, Yuki was still the little brat who followed behind him. Yuki thought about how Yukiming had tricked him earlier, and was instantly infuriated. However, After thinking about it for the past few days, he felt that Yu Keming probably didn't know that person was a spiritualist. But that didn't mean he wasn't angry. He didn't intend to bother with Yu Keming in the first place. On one hand, Yu Keming didn't have much money on hand. Moreover, Yu Keming's attitude towards him had always been that of a follower. "I'm going back to the sect," Yuki said calmly. "Don't go back to the sect. I still need you to help me kill that Chen guy," Yu Keming said. "I don't have the time," Yuki thought to himself. As expected, this fool did not know that the other party was a cultivator. "What do you mean you're not free? I'm giving you money, and you're telling me you're not free? Have you forgotten who you are? I've already returned to my sect. I don't have time." He felt that he needed to teach him a lesson. "Soon, I'll be there soon." Yuki sped up and rushed back to the 7 Imperial School. Not long after, Yuki saw his cousin. Yuki's car had just stopped when he saw Yu Keming run over impatiently. "Do you fucking dare to slow down any further? Do you know how long I've been waiting for you here?" After Yuki got out of the car, he looked at his cousin coldly. It seemed that a little lesson was far from enough. Yuki had already decided to teach him a lesson that he would never forget. Yuki glanced at Yu Keming from the corner of his eye and took out his phone. "Master, I'm at the entrance of the sect. Open the gate." Just then, Yu Keming heard an ear-piercing sound in the air. It sounded like something hard was scratching against glass. Then, the air in front of him seemed to have been cut open with a pair of scissors, revealing a hole. The scene inside the hole was completely different from the outside. This wasn't the first time Yu Keming had seen such a scene, but he had to admit that it was unbelievable. "Come, let's go in." Yuki called out and stepped into the hole first. "Master." Yuki was the first to see his master. Wait a moment. I'll close the gate first." Yuki's master was about to close the array formation of the gate. Suddenly, a hand reached in from outside the hole. "Divine Emperor of the 9 Heavens." The dozen or so people were the upper echelons of the 7 Imperial School. They were either sect masters or elders. Every single one of them had an impressive cultivation base. In the Wuxia spirit world, they would be considered top-notch experts. Seeing that an outsider had barged in, these people started yelling at Chen Zhao without any explanation. Of course, their reactions were completely normal. After all, if someone barged into Chen Zhao's house, they would definitely be killed. Chen Zhao would have the same reaction. But right now, Chen Zhao didn't seem to hear them. Instead, he looked at the 7-headed tiger demon. Everyone saw that Chen Zhao's open mouth was dripping with saliva. It was like a starving ghost discovering a delicious meal. Roar. No one liked this kind of look, not even the 7-headed tiger demon. It really didn't like it. So after roaring, it pounced at Chen Zhao. At the same time, Chen Zhao also pounced at it. Everyone thought that Chen Zhao would be eaten alive by the 7-headed tiger demon. However, that wasn't the case. It was pressed to the ground by Chen Zhao's backhand. Then, Chen Zhao opened his mouth and bit the 7-headed tiger demon's neck. Roar. The 7-headed tiger demon let out a heart-wrenching howl. Chen Zhao tore off a piece of flesh from the 7-headed tiger demon's neck. Then he swallowed it whole. Everyone's scalps went numb. Yu Keming in particular was trembling all over. Was he trying to deal with this guy earlier? He was more like a monster than a monster. The 7-headed tiger demon wanted to get up and resist. However, Chen Zhao's strength was too great. It couldn't resist Chen Zhao's monstrous strength at all. "How dare you? Let go of the divine beast of our sect." Seeing this, the people of the 7 Imperial School immediately attacked Chen Zhao. They threw all kinds of spells at Chen Zhao as if they were free. However, Chen Zhao wasn't moved by the spells at all. Right now, Chen Zhao only had appetite. A crazy appetite. Chen Zhao casually tore off a tiger's head. In an instant, blood splattered 10 feet. Chen Zhao tore off another piece of flesh and stuffed it into his mouth. "Demon! This guy's been bewitched. Kill him now." In reality, there were no such things as evil in this era. Because of the flow of information, the evil in people's eyes had long been transparent. But now, everyone felt that the man before them was a demon. His crazed look was even more ferocious than the demons in the legends. "Stop. Stop it." The seven-headed tiger demon had been tortured to the point where it only had one breath left. It couldn't even move, let alone resist Chen Zhao. There were pieces of flesh and a large patch of blood on the ground. Chen Zhao was still madly devouring the seven-headed tiger demon's flesh. A Taoist from the Seven Imperial School descended from the sky with a sharp blade and slashed at Chen Zhao's neck. Clang! The Taoist from the Seven Imperial Gate was sent flying. The blade in his hand was also missing a corner. On the other hand, Chen Zhao was unscathed. Finally, Chen Zhao took out the seven-headed tiger demon's monster core. Everyone's pupils constricted, because if the monster core was taken out, it meant that the seven-headed tiger demon had no chance of survival. However, just when everyone thought that Chen Zhao would swallow the monster core, but Chen Zhao crushed it. Although Chen Zhao was full of appetite. However, Chen Zhao could still differentiate between edible and edible ones. In Chen Zhao's eyes, the monster core clearly belonged to the non-food category. Chen Zhao's appetite was only for food. However, in everyone's eyes, Chen Zhao was a real demon. Chen Zhao turned to look at Yu Keming. Yu Keming had already peed his pants. He really peed his pants. Who was the person you found that day? But Chen Zhao's words were interrupted again. It seems that you don't know what the Seven Imperial School does. How dare you be so presumptuous here? Do you think you can leave here alive today? Not just you, but also your family. An elder of the Seven Imperial School snorted. Actually, anyone with a bit of rationality would choose to remain silent. Provoking a madman at a time like this was clearly very irrational. Chapter 2674. Every member of the Seven Emperors School took jobs. But the jobs depended on who they took. Even if they became enemies, they had to consider the other party's identity first. For example, those with great influence in the political world wouldn't move. Or those with deep or powerful backgrounds would take a detour. But the person in front of them was a complete madman. And a terrifyingly powerful madman. Facing him head-on at a time like this was clearly a very unwise choice. The Seven Emperors School elder seemed to be overconfident. He didn't realize what consequences his stupid actions would bring him. A black ball appeared beside Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao didn't even look at it. The black ball shot toward the Seven Emperors School elder. The Seven Emperors School elder thought that with his skills and cultivation, he could easily block this unknown spell. But when the black ball pierced through his body, he realized he was wrong. Crack! When everyone saw the Seven Emperors School elder suddenly explode, they all jumped in fright. Apart from Yu Keming, everyone took the initiative to cast a few defensive spells on themselves. Yu Keming sprawled on the ground, not daring to raise his head. Don't kill me, don't kill me. I'll count to 3. If you don't answer my question, then it won't be a question of whether you'll die or not. To be honest, I haven't tasted human flesh yet. It's him, it's him. He encouraged me. Yu Keming wasn't the type to sacrifice himself for others. Right now, he just wanted to push the blame onto Yu Kui. He didn't want to face this fiend for a second longer. Fiendish was no longer enough to describe the person before him. Was the seven-headed tiger demon fierce enough? It was over 10 meters long and weighed dozens of tons. It had been swallowed by this person bite by bite. Especially when he heard that this person wanted to taste human flesh. Yu Keming was almost scared to death. Chen Zhao turned to Yuki. Yuki's heart was also pounding. But at least he had cultivation, so he didn't lose his composure. Yuki instantly felt a terrifying aura rush toward him. Not daring to hesitate, he spread his arms. An alternate dimension enveloped Chen Zhao. Last time, he could envelop Chen Zhao without making a sound. But this time, he wanted to put Chen Zhao into an alternate dimension right in front of him. Hundreds of black balls suddenly appeared around Chen Zhao. It shot directly into Yuki's alternate dimension. Boom, boom, boom. Yuki's alternate dimension was instantly riddled with holes. At the same time, Yuki's mind was also greatly shaken, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He fell to one knee on the ground, his face devoid of life. Chen Zhao walked up to Yuki step by step and looked down at him. Where's your partner? What? What accomplices? Don't play dumb in front of me. Chen Zhao stared coldly at Yuki. The person who cast the spell on me. I don't know what you're talking about. Yuki broke out in a cold sweat. Chen Zhao raised his arm. Yuki's body floated up uncontrollably. Wait. I really don't have an accomplice. Yuki shouted in horror. It's him, it's him. You must have hired someone else. Chen Zhao looked at Yukeming. No. Don't listen to his nonsense. He's the only one I know. Yukeming denied in panic. Chen Zhao had really wronged him this time. Apart from Yuki, he didn't know a second spiritualist. Moreover, Yuki was cheap and good. Why would Chen Zhao find another one? So one of you is lying? Chen Zhao smiled cruelly. His smile was bone-chilling. In fact, Chen Zhao's face and body were both scarlet red. No matter what expression he made, it would still be bone-chilling. I need someone to give me an answer, Chen Zhao said coldly. An accurate answer that satisfies me. The other person will die. Who is that man in the black Han costume? Who is he? Chen Zhao's eyes widened. Yuki froze for a moment, then suddenly yelled. I know. I know who that man is. Who is he? Emo Han, Yuki said loudly. He's a top-notch cultivator, and a swindler in the top 3 assassin rankings. Yukeming can't afford to hire Emo Han at all. Not to mention Yukeming, even the sum of all the people in the 7 Imperial School couldn't be higher than Emo Han. The person with the highest commission in the 7 Imperial Schools was their sect leader, who took 500,000 each time. For someone like Yuki, it was already not bad if he took 100,000. If he met someone like Yukeming, he might not even get 10 or 20,000. But swindler Emo Han was a true top-notch assassin in the industry. His single commission was no less than 10 million. And swindler Emo Han's trademark was that every time he appeared before his target, he wore a black hanfu. Chen Zhao was not interested in these so-called top-notch cultivators and rankings. He was already used to this kind of ranking when he was overseas. Where can I find him? I don't know. Chen Zhao narrowed his eyes. You don't know? If you didn't know, how could you two have cooperated so well that day? What cooperation? I didn't even know that his target was you two. Yuki wanted to cry. If he'd known that such a high-level assassin would come, he wouldn't have intervened. Now, it seemed that something had indeed happened. Chen Zhao wasn't the only one who'd come. He'd also implicated the sect. Just then, a dozen more people came in through the spatial crack that Chen Zhao had torn open earlier. When the people of the 7 Imperial School saw the newcomers, their faces lit up. But when they saw the situation inside the 7 Imperial School, they were a bit scared. They'd heard that the 7 Imperial School had been attacked, and thought that they'd come to help. But now they looked at the situation inside the 7 Imperial School. It was like the sky had changed color. Old Huang, Old Wei, you're finally here. Help me subdue this murderer. Sinine, what's going on? Who's that guy? This guy barged into my 7 Imperial School and killed my divine mountain protector. Now, he even wants to kill my disciple. The leader of the 7 Imperial School, Sun Yin, clearly didn't plan on telling the truth. Help me subdue him. The 7 Imperial School, and I will thank you greatly in the future. What are you talking about? We've known each other for so many years. The people who'd come to help weren't good people either. After all, the people Sun Yin invited were all sects that advanced and retreated with the 7 Imperial School. The group of people who'd suddenly arrived quickly reached an agreement with the people of the 7 Imperial School. They clearly planned to attack together and kill Chen Zhao. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.